Alolan forms, honestly, every time we go to talk about regional forms, I just like I'm so grateful that like this is a feature, but it's a feature that Game Freak continued to implement on uh over the last decade, right? Like this could have been a one and done Alolan only feature, but I just love regional forms. I think it makes so much sense in the Pokemon world. And what we're looking at here is that Generation 7 apparently had a bunch of scrapped Alolan regional forms, right? Which I don't think we got any of these in future games. But we could see these. We could see these in a Generation 10, Generation 11 game. Who knows?
Some of these you can see what they were reworked into as well.
Yeah,
I mean, right on for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So let me give the recap, and then we can kind of break it down. So first, the Rhyhorn line. There was supposed to be a regional form of Rhyhorn in its evolutionary line. These were going to be electric and rock type. I think we're all, what we ended up with was the Geodude line, being the same exact type, electric rock. But it would have been interesting because I think the Geodude line is pretty well liked, and it would have been interesting to see a new version of, or I guess a parallel evolutionary line that maybe made the transformation from Rhydon to Rhyperior a little bit more, natural. I feel like that evolutionary line is very jarring for a lot of people. So it would have been nice to see this line maybe developed as a whole, with all three stages in mind when conceptualizing.
What's interesting about it too is that they did that it shows like how early on in development this was scrapped, because like it actually only mentions a Rhyhorn regional variant, so you can assume there would have been a Rhydon one, maybe a Rhyperior one, but it does only mention a Rhyhorn, which just shows it was scrapped early. It also I'm trying to find it, but it was referred to in one of the things as a Talonflame killer. Which
wow.
is like,
see, that's just like in Lumi's memory bank. I wish we just knew where that was.
Yeah.
Sucks like that it's all like that. But
and you're talking competitively. I guess I could.
No. I'm talking like lore. Like lore.
Oh, it literally
described
eats
as
Talonflame?
Like, it was a Fiaro killer, which Fiaro is the Japanese name for Talonflame.
I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, you could look at the typing and just think, okay, electric beats flying, rock beats fire and flying, so that beats Talonflame. But it kind of makes me also think Rhyhorn's not. I mean, I think Rhyhorn in world is supposed to be fast because you race Rhyhorn, but I don't think it's actually a fast Pokemon mechanically. Right. So the electric type, to think that maybe we got a super speedy Rhyhorn is crazy. And I think it would have also been very cool, right? Rhyhorn is, it's a kaiju, but I do think base Rhyhorn is supposed to take a little bit of inspiration from a rhinoceros, at least the English name. I don't know. I can see it in the design, and I'm imagining like if it's still rock type, it's just as strong, but the electric. I'm imagining its horn almost having, instead of it being a drill, having like a jagged edge to it, like a lightning bolt. And this thing's just fast.
All right, so I found it. It was like in those little documents where it's just kind of detailing some areas. In the canyon, it details an electric rock Pokemon, and it says Alolan Shrike, which would be Alolan Rhyhorn.
Scyther.
And then
one's Scyther, bro. Strike is Scyther.
This says electric rock. No, not strike. Shrike.
Oh.
Like SH. Which might be a reference to the bird, honestly. But it says that it is a Talonflame killer.
Wild.
Which is
love it.
Kind of, like that's super metal, honestly.
Yeah. With what Dusty was saying, like, I think Alolan Geodude, the whole line is kind of forgettable. Like, do people think about it much?
No.
Not much.
Geodude?
Yeah, Geodude, the line.
Oh, yeah, that's forgettable.
Oh, Alolan? What, you're saying
Alolan.
base
No,
Alolan.
not base. I'd say Alolan, though.
Base Geodude is iconic, I think.
Right. I agree.
Alolan.
Yeah, I think Alolan Geodude's kind of forgettable. Yeah.
Nobody thinks about that line much. And it's just, this might have been so epic. Like, you can think of like an electrified rhino running faster. I think this would have been This would have been better, but I guess they couldn't. What probably happened is they couldn't think of something for its evolutions. You know what I mean? Like they had like the concept for the Rhyhorn, and then they were like, "Yo," obviously speculation, but
I think probably so. The one thing that groups all Alolan regional forms together is that they're all regional forms of Generation 1 Pokemon, and I wonder if Rhyhorn, the fact that Rhyhorn
Rhyperior
evolves into Rhyperior, which is not a Generation 1 Pokemon, might have had something to do with it. I also wonder if maybe they just started with Rhyhorn. I could see the thought starting with Rhyhorn as one of the main ride Pokemon in the previous generation in X and Y, right? Being like, oh, now we have ride Pokemon in Sun and Moon. That's going to be a main feature. What if Rhyhorn, right? All trainers know that you ride Rhyhorn in Alola. I'm sorry, in Kalos, but now you play Sun and Moon and you see, oh no, Rhyhorn is a different, in the Alola region, and you can still ride it. I feel like it's a really good touch point to compare and to showcase both ride Pokemon and regional forms at the same time. But then maybe it was scrapped because, like I said, Rhyperior is not a Generation 1 Pokemon.
It could have also been scrapped too, because like if they're able to conceptualize this Rhyhorn, even forgetting about Rhyperior, even Rhydon is such a drastic change from Rhyhorn. Maybe they knew they wanted this quadruped rhino, but they couldn't quite figure it out for the biped one, and so they they scrapped it because this is regional forms. We don't have regional evolutions yet. Whereas if they did, maybe we would have gotten our regional Rhyhorn that then evolves into a brand new Pokemon.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And right now I'm showing on screen our buddy Hoops and Hip Hop. He's got right here in the thumbnail, like his version of an electric Rhydon. So cool. But I think it, damn, did I lose my train of thought? I was so mystified by this concept art.
It's cool.
Yeah. What were we talking about? I lost my train of thought.
This guy being cool.
Oh man,
it's electric.
No. So I do think so. Like they had like in Alola, they had to sell us. They in Gen 7, they had to sell us on the idea of regional forms, and I think the way they did that was like they were like, listen, we're gonna show these new forms, but how do we know? How can we be sure that every one of these new regional forms isn't misconstrued for like just a new Pokemon? And I think it was important for Game Freak. Like they very intentionally made every regional form a form of a Gen 1 Pokemon because, if you're going to bet, everyone knows the Gen 1 Pokemon. It's an easy, it's an easy point of,
reference.
Difference. I don't know. I think even new regional forms are kind of not confusing, but I sometimes I get them shuffled up in my mind. But when I think of I don't know, the Kanto regional forms, they're so obvious, they're just they're like type swaps.
I think they do always get, they do always become more memorable too. Like I think people remember, on average, Galarian Weezing, Sirfetch, Galarian Rapidash more than they remember Galarian Stunfisk.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you.
Galarian Stunfisk. What is that?
Yeah,
I literally forgot what it was.
Yeah. Either way, I think this would have been better than the Graveler line.
Yeah, it's cool
for sure.
Oh, here's another version that someone made.
Love it.
This is a Galarian, or I guess a Alolan electric type Rhyhorn. I can see it.
Yep.
There's some really cool art online. I didn't realize people made art for this.
Here's
the full art. So cool.
As time goes on, we'll get even more.
And that's what happens too. Is once you find out, like, oh hey, a electric rock Rhyhorn existed, people start drawing it. You figure, anytime something gets revealed, released, whatever, anytime a Betamon leaks, people redesign it in their art style, so it's not just a sprite.
Moving on, we got a water and fairy type Seal and Dewgong.
We're robbed. But this makes sense why it's not there, but it still sucks.
Probably scrap for Primarina.
What do you imagine?
I don't imagine anything other than Majesty. It just would have been good could have gone
the Siren route, and that's why they scrapped it.
So the idea here is that these Pokemon were scrapped, these regional forms were scrapped, and instead we got Primarina. and the Poplio line essentially, which was water and fairy type, and I think that makes sense.
I think
I got no rebuttal on that. I think that makes sense.
I think it depends when they were developed. They could have been developed like alongside each other, and then they were like, "Which one are we going to keep?" kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
maybe the idea was
obviously the
developing.
starter.
Or maybe the idea could have been like developed, and it was so good that they were like, "This just feels like it could be a starter Pokemon."
Yeah, that hurts my soul because it just Dugong. Look at that one there. Yeah, there you go. It's perfect.
Yeah, you just have this Dugong with
Aurora.
the Aurora Borealis theme.
Aurora Veil
One of
did
it.
debut
I don't know if
this
it's a
gen, I think.
signature ability or a move, but like Aurora Beam is something that like was often used in those earlier games. Yeah, I don't know. This line's just kind of like forgettable, but it could have been really cool.
Yeah.
I needed an upgrade. I think the water.
There you go. There's a good one too. That pink, and it's got like a fluffy ring around it. Right, you were just on it. Over 2. There you go.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like Poplio. I think Primarina's kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah,
But
I would have
just
preferred
this
this.
Pokemon
That's the thing.
deserves justice is the thing. Like this isn't like a I hate Primarina. I actually really
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Primarina, but this is like a Dugong deserves some love, man. It's one
Yeah.
of the like 2 Kanto Pokemon who haven't gotten anything at this point,
Yeah.
Here's one of my favorite Dugong evolutions by Ondu Region. In it, you just see this like it's an evolution for Dugong, but it does have a lot of these Aurora Beam colors, right? The light blue, the light pink, the gradient. It's looking like a narwhal. It's got an even longer horn. These like ice ornaments around it. It'd be really cool if it became like fairy ice or something, just to make it more interesting. The water ice is really just lacking. We also could have had a bug and fairy type Scyther.
We also lost here. This actually helps the whole Dugong situation because it does
I don't think we
seem
lost.
it does seem like this might have become Lurantis. So that also supports that these were made before like a lot of the Gen 7 Pokemon, essentially.
Yeah, these could have been Gen 6 I guess I like that there's a lot of attempts at additional fairy type regionals. That feels good coming off of Generation 6 when fairies like introduced or whatever. But yeah, I definitely think this Pokemon just became Lurantis. Let me pull up
Ironically,
Lurantis
though, Lurantis got neither the fairy nor the bug typing.
Yeah.
That's so true. But that's its whole thing that it
Right.
it's just a grass. Is it just grass?
Yep.
Pure grass.
Yeah. It's a
But
good
it is
Pokemon.
it is a mantis, and it technically isn't, but it is shaped like a mantis.
It is.
Yeah. It is a mantis in design, and it is also very pink and fashionable. So
Yeah.
it could be fairy if you really wanted it to be. Yeah, it's such a good Pokemon.
So cool. Such a cool
They could have
Pokemon.
scrapped it because they felt like we've seen, or not scrapped it, but like scrapped the typing of fairy for Lurantis because like they felt like they had enough, right? Like, I mean, we've seen them do that before where like they've kind of changed up the decks a little bit because they feel like they're missing a type or have too many types. And I think Sun and Moon did have a decent type of fairies. I mean, just when I immediately think of it, I'm able to think
Rabombi,
of like Ninetales,
Primarina.
Rabombi, Primarina.
Yeah.
True. The fairy type could have gone to Rabombi as well because they already had,
Oh,
wanted
sure.
to use
Bug
the
fairy type. That's a good point.
The
Yeah.
bug fairy could have just went to Rabombi and then they used this design for Lurantis instead. So they split
Maybe
it up.
what is the thought process behind making Scyther a fairy type,
Yeah, also, would it have been that good? I don't know. It could have been cool.
I think
if it was like
cool. Lurantis is awesome. It would have been really cool. I guess maybe like I'm thinking about Swords Dance is one of Scyther's like signature moves. That Dancer. I don't know. I think of the fairy type with that. And maybe it's in contrast to, Scizor, which is like so offensive and aggressive in that way. So I can see that. And then finally we have a fighting type Snorlax.
Which was
Do
going to
we
be...
have any more information on this?
It was going to be the Kahunas. Haka? Haka is his name? Or what is it? Hala? Haka's the dance. Close,
Hala,
but not exactly.
I know
Kahuna
what
for
this
the
is.
First island was gonna... And then I think personally, you could make the argument that you could see this being worked into its Z moves. It had a exclusive Z move, Snorlax did, and what's interesting too is the Z move was kind of treated like an afterthought almost, where you only get it in Sun and Moon by getting the early purchase bonus, where you get a Munchlax with the Snorlium Z. But in that Z move, you see Snorlax wake up and he's like super active and he runs and he jumps and there's an explosion. I don't know, that like active Snorlax kind of makes you wonder if maybe that was somehow worked around with the fighting type Snorlax regional form. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see it.
No, I totally agree. I think that's a really cool interpretation, Lumi. I feel like what happened is Snorlax was probably scrapped, this regional Snorlax, because instead we ended up with Beware.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And maybe what it was is that they were just trying to, you know, put more emphasis on new Pokemon rather than making everything a regional form. You know?
Right. They needed some as well. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about missing it, but maybe it would have been cool. Maybe I would have loved it. We'll never know.
Yeah, it's one of those Pokemon where I don't feel like, you know, like Dugong, it hurts because it's like, okay, Dugong needs some love, but like this is one where it's like probably would have been cool. I'm not like, what? You skipped out on Snorlax? Come on, you know?
I think Snorlax is so popular that I think a lot of people would have appreciated a new
for sure
form of Snorlax. It really is one of the OGs. Mm-hmm. I think Beware is great, and it is a new. It's a silly design that also feels, you know, I don't know. It feels.
And it's a red panda,
really unique.
Stuffle's adorable.
Stuffle's the best ever. Yeah, Beware is a little.
But damn, yeah, like a regional Snorlax would be great. I hope we get one in the future. There's a really cool one that's like fire type, or like I've seen ice type.
I've seen a lot of people suggest grass type Snorlax.
Yeah. I mean, it
what would that be for?
With the G-Max.
I have no idea. I've just
seen G-Max was kind of that, right?
Yeah. Well, and like it came from this old like rumor about like a island-based region that would have a grass type Snorlax and all this, and it kind of got a lot of love.
Interesting.